self-love, or when you just feel loved, just note how you feel inside when that moment. And there is a joy, but there's also, I would think, at least I can say that for me, is there's a tenderness. It's very hard to allow love in when we have walls up, right? And so we have that famous Rumi quote that the wound is where the light comes in. The wound is where we just softly melt and we allow the light to start coming in and be a healing presence to us. So self-love, we can see, is a type of tenderness. It can be even why we like to cry. Good tears or bad tears, either way, because crying, our heart starts to soften. Whatever's going on for us, when we start to open up and we cry from joy, we cry from sadness, our heart is now open and tender in a way that it wasn't before, and it helps us access something that isn't always readily available to us. Living with a tender heart. And living with a tender heart doesn't mean that we're weak, or that we allow people to walk all over us, or that we don't have any sense of self. Last week I went out to lunch with Reverend Rochelle McCreary, who's the new minister down in CSL San Jose. And she said something like, "Stop!" And I made her say it 3 times because I love the quotes. She just said it. I'm like, that's brilliant. And this is the thing that she said that stopped me in my tracks. She said, it's just good. You know, the need to please. The need to please is the gateway path to being out of integrity. The need to please is the gateway path to being out of integrity. I'll say it one more time. The need to please is the gateway to the path of being out of integrity. And that's very interesting. So we have tenderness, but tenderness doesn't mean we give up our sense of self. And I think we have to be able to differentiate the two. There's tenderness who is just like, I don't know, and I just will do whatever you want me to do, or I'm so sorry, and I have no sense of self. And then there's the tenderness that feels such a deep love for myself and for others, but at the same time I can have healthy boundaries. At the same time I can say no. At the same time I can create a clear idea of who I am in the midst of a tender heart. I was thinking about this need to please people, because I hear it all the time. And it seems like in the last year I've heard more of that than I've ever heard. But I mean, I guess people are just becoming more conscious of this people pleasing that we do. And I was thinking, when we do something that we don't like, and we're beating ourselves up, I wonder if we would beat ourselves up if there was no one else involved. If nobody in the world knew that you just did what you did, or said what you just said, or thought what you just thought, it was completely invisible to the rest of the world, would you beat yourself up so much? Probably not. So much of our negative self-talk is based on a measurement of how other people think we should behave and be in this world. We always say, well, don't should on yourself, but where does the should come from? The should comes from other people. If you were living in an island by yourself, you probably wouldn't be quite so harsh on yourself. It's because you think you've now done something that's going to make you unlovable, unwelcome to other people. And you just go, oh, why did I do that? And sometimes it's because you're worried that you hurt someone else, but often it's because you're afraid now that that's made you unlovable. Made us unlovable. So we want to be more loving, be tender, but at the same time, that very tenderness can make us more susceptible to what other people are saying, because now we're tender, we're feeling into them. Empaths talk about this trouble all the time. We feel other people's pain, we feel other people's energy. So that very tenderness can help us lose ourselves if we're not doing the work of self-love. And self-love, as we heard these wonderful examples this morning, But no matter what we do, if we're not having a self-talk, it's hard to be in self-love. So I can take a bath every day out of self-love, but if I'm beating myself up the whole time I'm in the bath, that's not going to do me much good. That the conversation that we are having inside of our head and inside of our heart is probably one of the most powerful ways to ground ourselves in self-love, to really hear ourselves. It's funny, we say self-talk, but really talking requires listening, right? So it's the both. I am both wanting to shift my talk, but even if I have negative self-talk, okay, I'm just beating myself up, blah, blah, blah. By the way, I just want to say the other side of people-pleasing is being a sociopath and not caring at all what people think. We don't want to be indifferent to what people think, and this is why life is hard. Because it's both. I just went off somebody's else, a pun, but I won't go there. So, so we want to hear ourselves and listen to ourselves and have a conversation with ourselves and be strong in ourselves. And we can feel bad if we hurt somebody. And so we can ask ourselves questions. Let's say I said something or did something that I so regret. And, you know, who doesn't do this all the time? The more conscious you get, like, oh, why did I say that? Or why did I do that? And you just sort of cringe. There's wonderful questions to ask yourself. Well, do I really want, is my desire for that other person to feel pain? Most of us are going to say no. Is my desire for that person to not thrive and feel the fullness of love? Probably not. So then we can immediately, just that question starts moving us into a realm of compassion rather than judgment. See, self-talk takes time. It's not just doing affirmations mindlessly. Oh, I said something terrible. Oh, I know I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. Well, why did I say that? Why did I do that? And am I a bad person because of that? Do I want bad things for other people? Let's have a whole conversation, because if you're in a relationship with somebody, or even just a healing relationship, so you're going to one of our, hey, we have a lot of practitioners in the house. Will the practitioners raise your hand? See, we got these wonderful practitioners. They're there not to help you, not to think for you, but to help you have these conversations with yourself. So it's not just doing affirmations, but it's actually questioning. Well, so for instance, let's say I said something harsh towards somebody, and like, do I want bad things for them? No. Do I want them to be anything less than happy? No. But I do feel a little bit irritated with them. I do feel a little bit irked. So then we get to explore, how does that relate to love? And we listen with compassion. So when you're going to a practitioner, when you're going to a therapist, what we know is that the therapist or the practitioner, they're going to be listening to you from a non-judgmental place, and they're going to ask you questions. They're going to be listening to you, and they're going to have a conversation with you. And so what self-talk is not this just bland monologue of affirmations. It's an actual conversation where you are having a dialogue with yourself, where you are getting to know yourself intimately. Because another way we know that we're loved, well, look at children. How do children know that they're loved? We spend time with them. We listen to them. We interact with them. We don't just go, oh, you're loved, and then go do something else. The way they know that they're loved is we actually spend time with them. If you're going to do self-love, you are going to spend time with yourself, listening to your heart, listening to what is going on for you. That takes time. Why did that? What's going on for me? And not from a place of judgment, not from a place of punishment, but from a place of, I know that I love. I know that I love myself, and I know that I love them. And this where, by the way, is where principle is very helpful. Principle tells us that love is all that there is, that love is the source of all creation, that this love so far transcends the human experience and yet is fully intimate in the everyday life, paying attention to each and every one of us on a very individual basis. And so we can trust that love and be in connection and dialogue with it and say, the healing process, so even if I may not be feeling love, I can access and say, well, in my mind, I know there's love here. So I'm not there now, but I know that there's love. This is really important in our conversation. This is what's going to happen when you go to a practitioner. They know the truth. They're not going to be saying, I wonder if love's on the field. No, they know love's on the field. You can do this for yourself. You know love is on the field, whether you feel it or not. So I know love is here. I just can't access it right now. You start having a conversation, an authentic and honest conversation, because what do we know about all healing, emotional healing, is that it requires us to be honest. It's not going to happen. If we're hiding from something, what is it they say? If you don't feel it, you can't heal it. You know, if you're feeling something here, but you're being all, well, it's all love, but you're not actually feeling here, this love can't touch down here. In order for the love to come down, you have to acknowledge it and see it and be honest about it. And we get more fearless in doing that when we realize that no matter how honest I am, behind everything is love. Behind everything is love. So we know this when we raise our children, right? Or your family, your siblings, you get annoyed with people. Remember one time, it just makes you happy, but sometimes when this happens, I was really getting on Julian about his homework. I was getting pretty irritated. I know that's a shock, but... And then he goes to me, and then I go, oh, Julian, I'm sorry I'm being really hard on you, but I'm just concerned. He goes, oh, Mom, it's fine. I know you're hard on me because you love me. But it's true, right? What if we did that with ourselves? What if we could have these difficult conversations out of knowing that it's love? It's not out of punishment. It's not to hurt ourselves. It's not to hurt the other person. But everything, every conversation that we're having with ourselves is to reveal deeper and deeper and deeper love. And that actually turns out to be a little bit harder sometimes than we think. One of the phrases that I like to say to myself in my own way is that, so we're going to go into this a little bit more later, but we acknowledge that love is moving and flowing through us all of the time, that all there is love, and that we are one with that love. For some reason, it still helps me in that I-thou relationship that I'm loved. You know, I just accept divine love. And it's interesting to me, the more I do that, the more I sink into that, the more I cringe, because I start recognizing this love more and more. It sees even the things that I don't see. It starts to see, I realize, oh, I don't really feel like I deserve love right now. You know, I can't believe this divine love can actually see this part of me. And I start realizing that I am transparent. I mean, I knew this, but it's just experience versus knowing something as it goes deeper and saying, oh, it loves me even now. It loves me even now. It loves me even now. I think it loves me now. But that's this journey that we're on self-love. Because the deeper we go into our own love, it's so much easier to love other people then, and to be compassionate towards their life and their journey, because we've been compassionate with ourselves. But I really want to also speak to this idea that this love is so much greater than we realize. I realize. And there's a woman I was just listening to, her name is Mia Hansen, and just a woman talking and sharing that she had an interesting childhood because it was a happy one. Her parents met, they wrote letters to each other, they were pen pals for 5 years. They met, got engaged right away because they knew each other really well. Been married, happily married for 50 years, raised 3 kids, good life. She had a good life. And she said, because I had such an easy and effortless childhood and everything was great, I just assumed everything was going to go that way for me, and it didn't. It was very hard, and I kept running into very painful things, and it was really through me, and it just one hard thing and difficult thing after another kept happening to her. And she said, to the point where I started thinking, this is not a world that I particularly want to participate in anymore. She was really drop bottom low. So she went to a Zen monastery in England, and it was run by, I think, 50 monastics, half of them men, half of them women, and they did it in the form of Zen, Japanese Zen. They were English people, but doing Japanese Zen. And she said, besides the cooking and the gardening, what we spent a lot of time doing was meditating. I found that so interesting. And she said, as I started meditating, and I was dropping down, and just said, what it does, it just quiets everything down, so you start seeing things you didn't see before. And the first layer I hit was terror. She said, I didn't even realize how much terror was running my life. And she can't say it comes from her childhood. It was just, Joel Goldsmith says the same thing. Just by being born on this earth plane of existence of duality, there is darkness. And it's, if we're not aware of it, or we might not, she was totally unaware of it, but how much it was impacting how she was living her life is this fear, this underlying terror. And she just kept meditating. And she said after about 6 or 7 months of just this tons of meditating, she said, I just dropped down to this whole other level. And it was a whole nother experience I've never had. And she said, the only thing I could call it is love. And it was so powerful. And what I loved hearing about that is here she grew up in a wonderful family. Her parents married, happy marriage for 50 years. Her siblings. She had a wonderful childhood, but it was a love far deeper than that. And this is so important for us to know on the spiritual journey. That when we're talking about self-love, we are talking about, there's just the human love, the way we love each other as human beings. But then there's this whole other level of love. See Mike nod, I know he knows, he has shared some of that. This love, I know you all do, I'm sorry, but he was just nodding, that's why that there is this love that is so profound that transcends any human love that we have. And that will change our life, and it can change our life in a minute, the power of that love. And the more we access it, that's why gurus or saints or master teachers have such an impact, because they are radiating at not just a normal human love, which is just I'm nice to you and you're nice to me and I care about you and I think about you and you're in my heart. You know, I loved my family growing up until I had this divine experience. It was, and I just want to say, I never really gotten into the detail of how much I love my family, so I'm going to say, I was a little girl with 3 older brothers and 2 parents. They were gods to me, all of them. I loved being with them. We had a very safe home. It was structured. We had our 3 meals always together. We always ate as a family, said grace before every meal. Dinner time, we did watch the news, but then we'd stay after and talk. We went on family vacation 2 weeks in August every year. We had every holiday. My mom always did it. We had a Christmas concert, Christmas Eve. It was just our family, just the 6 of us. My dad would create a program. We all had to play piano and another instrument. And so he would create a program of who was doing what Christmas carol, what instrument, and who was singing. And my brother got a tape recorder and he would tape it. We would just give ourselves a Christmas concert every year. I mean, I adored my family. There was no place on earth I wanted to be. In fact, when we were on family vacation once, we were in New Hampshire, we were going up Mount Washington in our Pontiac station, maroon station wagon, and it was pouring rain. It was a huge torrential rainstorm. They closed the top of Mount Washington. So it's pouring as we're going up. All these cars are coming down. We heard on the radio that they closed it. So there's just this little tiny turnaround. And my mom's driving, and she's like, we got to turn around. So she goes, and she's going, you know, the little inch here, little inch forward, little inch back. And everyone in our family was just like, you know, Mom, no. And I just felt all this panic. And I'm like, it's okay. If we go over the cliff, I'm with my family. I didn't mind even dying. If I was with my family, I was good. That is how incredibly, insanely devoted and worshipful I was in my family. They were my life. That's where I wanted to be all the time. They were fun. They were playful. So when I first had my experience of the divine love, it was a total shock when I was in that state that I realized that all this love that I thought that I had for my family was like nothing. It was like an atom, a little particle compared to this love. That no matter how deeply and profoundly devoted I was, it was nothing compared to God's love. This is what we have access to and want to deepen and grow in as a spiritual community. We don't want to just have a little bit of love in our life. We don't want to just have a little sliver of love, a little rainbow of love. We want to go into the depths, the heights, the widths, beyond anything we can humanly imagine, and experience this divine love. And not just once, not just twice, but we want to start accessing that on a regular basis. And that's why we commit to doing prayer and meditation on a regular basis, to start tapping into this love that transcends anything we could ever humanly imagine, because we didn't create it. We are just accessing that which already is and allowing it to flow through us, and we become more and more open vehicles to allow that love and that light to pour through us. And discipline then becomes not about a punishment or I should or to please anybody out there, but it becomes this inner drive, like I love this love and I want to know more love. And that's love's covenant to us. That's love's covenant, that we are on this planet Earth to know and access its love as much as we possibly can every single day. And it's committing back to us. It gives back to us. Mia Hansen, she had this wonderful awareness. When she left the monastery, she was there for about a year, and she went back to London, and she said, I don't even believe in this stuff. But after I touched that realm and could access that through my meditation practice, everywhere I went, she said, I can't explain it. I don't even believe in it, but I still experienced it. She said it was like this hand, and it was this protective hand wherever I went, this presence of love that just protected me. And she goes, and then I travel, it's there too. No matter where I go, it's this protective hand. Love is in relationship with us. Everything that we are doing is to be in relationship with love, and love is responding by being in love with us. So when we're doing a self-talk, we're doing it in relationship with this infinite love. Everything is love. We are not doing it to please other people. We are doing it out of love. If we hurt somebody, then we heal from love. Everything is motivated not by fear, not by shoulds, not by separation, not by not enoughness. Everything starts to get motivated by this infinite oceanic love. That's why we're on this planet. Love has a covenant with us. We show up for it, and it shows up for us. And we start to see and feel it in new and glorious ways. And as we heard in the reading, this is what spiritual community is, because it gets magnified. Anyone who's done group meditation, you know that when you're meditating by yourself, it's awesome. But when you're in group meditation, it just gets magnified. Everything gets magnified. So as we commit to being this love and feeling and touching into this transcendent love, we support each other in doing that. And it's like, I remember I was sitting in a group, I didn't know anybody. It was 30 of us. And someone was leading the topic, we didn't even close our eyes. We didn't pray, we didn't meditate, but they just said, start talking as oneness. That was the only instruction. Well, that was the instruction, but then we didn't know really what to say to talk as oneness. So you're not talking about oneness, but as oneness. And you weren't allowed to talk about any spiritual experiences, any experiences in the past. You weren't allowed to talk about any books. You weren't allowed to talk about any teaching. You could only talk as oneness. It was a very stilted conversation at first, because what you say as oneness, you are oneness itself. But what was amazing is as the conversation started happening, it was like there was vortexes in the circle. And some of us it was just boing, 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 and you could see the energy. That's what community does. It's like we were all impacting each other with what we were saying, and you could see with the eye behind the eye, and feel with the heart behind the heart, and hear with the ear behind the ear. You can start feeling that energy vortexing back and forth between people. That's the power of community. That we're all are vortexes for each other, and the more we are in alignment with that love and healing ourselves as love, and then we're speaking from love, from that love, we become a vortex for someone else, for them to wake up, and they become a vortex for someone else to wake up, and we become this incredible vortex of love. That's love's covenant with us. So as we move into prayer, I'm going to do it a little differently tonight. I got to experiment every week. So I've talked before, and some of you may not have heard that talk, so I'll go back to the beginning. So last month we were talking about there's different perspectives to everything. And so in the spiritual, when we talk about spirit, there's 3 different faces. There's third person, which is talking about, so I'm just going to use love. There's third person, where we talk about love. There's second person, where we talk have a conversation with love. And then there's first person where we are that love. Now, one of the human tendencies that we have when we start learning these things is to compare for ourselves with other people. This is my preference, or this one's better than this one, or we do hierarchical judgment. What I'm going to do is we're going to go into prayer, and I'm going to start with third person. I want you to experience third person love to a little bit, whatever extent you can, second person to whatever extent you can, and first person. And what I would like you to do is get out of comparing mind, measuring mind. They're all good. The fullest we can feel is to feel all three of them simultaneously, to feel all three perspectives. By the end, to have our whole being filled with third, second, and first person, and feel the oceanic love pouring through us. And then I'll just do a quick healing treatment, and then Jack will play our music. You with me on this? So we're ready to open our door, our heart's door to love, right? Opening our heart's door to love. So we're going to start with third person. Then I'm not going to narrate third person, then I'm going to move to second person, then to first person. How grateful I am to know and join in with this beautiful community, to know that love is all that has ever been and ever will be. The infinite oceanic love that pours through every galaxy, every star, every atom and cell of being, every grain of sand, that pours through every human being. There is only love. This love pours through all sentient life form, animals, plants. It pours through things that we can't see and can't see and see. It is everything. It is impossible to ever be outside of this love. This love is genuinely and truly infinite, beyond human comprehension, and yet fully intimate. Right where each and every one of us is this love. At the center of our heart, it is every organ and action and function of our body temple. It is our atoms and our cells. It is the breath with which we breathe. It is our thoughts. It is our patterns of thought and thoughts we've never even had before. It's our subconscious mind and our conscious mind. It's our emotional life. It's all the experiences we've ever had from the moment, even before we were birthed, to the moment we leave this planet, and beyond all of it. Love is all of it. We are swimming in this vast ocean of love that is pouring through and as us, and we feel its energy and vibe. This love is true. This love is what is true here, now, and for all eternity. It never goes away. Love is, we are. And as we know that this is what love is, divine, infinite, oceanic love, I give myself, we give ourselves to you. We allow your love to pour through us. We open our hearts. We'll trust with our whole heart being and soul. We give ourselves to you, beloved love. We turn our attention to you. We are more interested in you than anything else in this world, because we know that you are ultimately what is real, what is absolutely real about anything that's happening in our life. Love, you are our relationships. Love, you are our job. Please show us and reveal to us your gifts, your talents through and as me. Thank you. Thank you for giving me these gifts and talents. Thank you for giving my friends and my beloved ones. And please, beautiful love, share and heal those people in our lives who need healing here and now, that need your love. Thank you for answering their call. Thank you for answering their call for physical healing, emotional healing, relationship healing, healings at their work, at their job. Thank you for the healings of people who are now transitioning to the other side of the veil. Thank you for those people who are seeking to know you even deeper and more fully, to know their oneness and union in God. Thank you, love. Thank you, divine love, for pouring yourself and answering all of our prayers even now. We receive your answers. We hear your answers. We hear your response even now at the center of our being. We feel your power. We feel your light. We feel your unconditional love for everything that we are. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, love. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, love. And as we give thanks for receiving and knowing this love, it is such a joy to know that we are this love, that I am this love. I am, we are love. Everywhere we go, everywhere I am, I radiate love. I pulsate love. I know that I am this love in the conversations that I have. I know that I am love in the consciousness that I am. I know that I am love in my infinite nature and in my finite nature, in my absolute nature and in my relative nature. I am everyone in this room as love. I am everyone on this planet, all life form as this love. I am the galaxies upon galaxies upon galaxies. I am this love showing up in powerful, miraculous ways in every moment in time and space. I am showing up as this loving miracle even now, consciously awake as everyone, every human being. Any healing that needs to happen is happening now as the I am. I am healing. I am healing. I am love and I heal. I reveal grace, love, joy. I am love. And I see and know every prayer request that is happening all over the planet. And I am, as love, responding even now to those prayer requests of those that we know and of those we don't know, of those who are seen and those who are invisible. I am love. I am forever and ever this eternal and infinite love that cannot help but just love and love and love and love without end. And it is in this awareness of the fullness of love, I feel myself in all three dimensions, knowing that love is, you are, and I am. We are love. And all is well. And so it is. Amen.
I walk in God in all I do. I walk in God in all that I say.